Hi, and welcome to Crypto Crazy. I'm Cal, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Koinos. It's a new blockchain that is looking to make development on a blockchain easier, simpler, and also transactions that have no fees. But just before I get started on that, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported my last video. Generally, I get about 350 likes, but now it's gone to 3,500. So it's a lot more than I would have expected. So it also looks like people are interested in Akomi. So I'll be making more videos about Akomi in the future, just giving you an update about how they are getting on. So going back to Koinos, it's a relatively new coin. And as you can see here, starting off sort of mid-January, and since then from about 1.5 cents it's up to 15. So that's 10x. That's a considerable amount already in the last 6 weeks or so. And as you can see, in the last couple of days it had a big jump, which is why it's probably gone down a little bit today, but I still believe it has a long way to go, and I'll tell you why. So Koinos, it's brought to you by some of the team from Steemit, the coin Steem. And this was a great project that was released a few years ago, and it was very much about sharing videos and information in the same way you can do through YouTube, but through another platform. And so they've got a few people from there, as you can see here. A lot of the guys, if not all the guys, are pretty much from this platform, Steemit. And Steem, how you can see, is what the blockchain was, but more interesting was the actual platform that they had developed, Steemit, and you could very much monetize it as well in the same way that you can do in YouTube, but pretty much from the start, and be compensated in Steem tokens. But if you don't know, there was a max exodus of people leaving, and that was in the middle of last year when it was taken over by Justin Sun, who is the founder of Tron. This is the individual here. And since then, as you can see, there are people who have left because it was going in a different direction. And this then ended up resulting in these individuals going to Koinos. So what are they actually doing at Koinos? As you can see here, it says no fees. So just to give you a bit of a background in terms of how it generally works. So if you have Ethereum, when you do make a transaction, it requires some fees, and that happens. It does that by taking some extra Ethereum, or some way in which it can make that transaction happen. So Koinos is developing a technology through where the blockchain provides an asset to coin holders, and the coin is called KOIN with a K, and that is then used for transactions or any other activity that usually requires fees. And when you do use that up, if you are still holding coins, then the blockchain will top it up. This is called mana within the Koinos blockchain, and that just keeps on getting topped up, as you can see here. So one thing that's quite interesting about this, it's still very, very early in terms of its roadmap. So if you do like the sound of this, you're very much getting in at the ground level of this blockchain. So as you can see here, the mainnet launch will be happening at the end of this year. So at the moment, it doesn't have its own blockchain on which, once it is released, the coin will be on that blockchain. At the moment, it's an ERC20 token. And as you can see here, it's talking about it's going to be a decentralized ecosystem that makes it faster and easier to build for developers. And I'll get onto that in a little bit more detail as well. And as you can see here, to create free accounts, transfer tokens for free, execute smart contracts for free. So it's very much driving about everything on there being free. So if we just go on to next page here, a blockchain that's easy to understand. And that's what they're very much pushing as well. So generally, when you are improving, creating, enhancing a blockchain, there can be some difficulties with it as well. Here it's talking about hard forks, and as we've seen in the past, forks can be quite difficult to do sometimes, or you need to do it to be able to make some upgrades. But they're going to be using something called modular upgradeability, where you can just carry on adding to it in this modular way. So that is actually one of the big problems that has been around on blockchains. So this is something that they are addressing. The other one is called state paging, and this is very much about the size of a blockchain. So as it keeps on adding more information to it, as transactions happen, data gets recorded, it becomes very, very large, and as a result it can create problems in terms of slowing and larger fees as well. So what they're trying to do, and this is still experimental, so if this works, this will be massive. They are reducing that data that's recorded. Here it says as much as 78%. So it's they mention it here. It's almost like it's able to remove the data, but it's able to retain the ability to bring it back as well. So it isn't heavy on that blockchain. So they're doing some great things in terms of what they want to do with the blockchain. And I think they definitely do have the expertise of people who have worked in this industry on a great project like STEEM before, and they're bringing that expertise as well. So they go into a bit more detail as well in terms of how they're doing that as well. I think it's worth reading this in a bit more detail if you are interested in how the technology works. They're talking about using WebAssembly implementations for smart contracts. So this is all ways in which they make it better as well. So definitely one to read in a bit more detail if that's of interest to you. And similarly, they have their white paper as well. Again, technical details around it. One thing that's also interesting as well, you've got a video here, podcast with the founder who's also from Steemit as well, the CEO, Andrew Levine, and he's asked the question about what the difference is between Polkadot, Cardano, and Koinos. Now, Polkadot and Cardano are two of the major blockchains that are really going ahead in terms of how they've advanced with the technology on it. And at the moment, it's hard to predict what Coinos will turn out to be exactly because they are still building it. But like I said, if you believe it, if you believe the team, if you have confidence in it, it is very much, you are getting in there very, very early. So if they are able to get to that sort of stage, that level, then that would be very, very impressive. But just in terms of a brief comment about what the founder says, he believes that it can be like the sizes of Polkadot and Cardano. In actual fact, he believes it's better because of the simplicity that it gives developers in terms of building it and enhancing it and adding to the technology. And similarly, he thinks it brings down all barriers of entry by everything being free. So whether you wish to develop it, use it, transact on it in any way, it really does bring down every single barrier of entry. So it's something that's worth considering. And I do believe it could potentially be a good coin. I think it's, like I said, it's still very early. You are getting in at ground zero. Yes, it has 10x'd since it's been launched, but I still think it's very relatively unknown. But as they carry on throughout the year, building on it, as you saw the roadmap, they still have a lot of things to do. And if by the end of the year the blockchain is created and they are beginning to have some good use of it as well, I think it's also worth noting that some chains like Polkadot are relatively new. They came out sort of just after the middle of last year, and they have really exploded. Now, before that, there was a lot of time in terms of when they had all of these things in the works and they were developing, but just because it's such an enhanced technology in terms of the blockchain. It has attracted not only developers but a lot of projects that wish to work on it as well. So I think in the same way, Coinos could really do that. I think the only thing that I note is that at the moment it doesn't have that much visibility in the crypto world. As you can see, the volume is pretty low. As you can see here as well, that the views for such things like these videos is pretty low as well. And in terms of even being able to be able to buy it, you can get it on Uniswap, so it is quite buyable in that sense. So that's the only thing that I do have in my mind, but I think it is a higher risk, but at the same time it could be a much higher reward. So just wanted to bring you that. I hope you found that interesting, informative. If you do have, as always, please do give me a like. Do consider subscribing. I do bring many videos like this. I look to bring some more videos soon about NFTs. I think that's very interesting, that topic. I think what's also interesting as well is, as I was having a look at Justin's Sun page here, it looks like he bidded 1 million for the first ever tweet on Twitter. And that was from 2 days ago. Today, I think the bid, I don't know who it's from, but was at 2.5 million. That's an NFT. That's a non-fungible token that is being sold by the CEO founder, Jack Dorsey. So it's a massive, massive thing for 2001. It's also what I discussed in terms of Ecomi as well, the NFTs marketplace. So I think it's definitely a very, very big area for this year in the crypto world. So do consider subscribing. I do bring these type of videos, a whole range, news, views, new coins, progress on coins as well. Again, hope you've enjoyed that. I've been Cal, this is Crypto Crazy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.